I'd like an answer to the question, Judge. You can't handle the truth!
I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
Rubs the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again.
Welcome to After Hours AM, The Criminal Code, with your hosts, Joel Sturgis, Eric Olsen, and Dr. Clarissa Cole.
Good evening, my friends. I'm Eric Olsen. It is time once again for After Hours AM, The Criminal Code. And yes, it is me, Eric, speaking at the beginning because poor Joel, who is with us this evening, is under the weather. In fact, he's so far under the weather, it's sitting on him and passing gas.
Well, exactly. Normally, I'd open it up. I would, but I just can't hit that note that needs to be hit right now. So, Eric, thanks a ton, man. Thanks a ton for cracking this thing open. And with us, as always, is Dr. Clarissa Cole. Well, I shouldn't say as always. Okay, bi-weekly is Dr. Clarissa Cole.
Hello.
Making it that much more special.
That's right.
Oh, I hear that like the flu is going around, though. It's kind of scaring me.
I have small children, and Eric, you once had small children, and they are germ factories.
I am around 3, well, not 1, not 2, but 3 1-year-old ranging between 1-year-old twins, 14-month-old twins, and a 6-month-old right here. Man. And every one of them is oozing from every orifice.
Oh, that's a good time. I got a 1-year-old that does that pretty good. I think what did me in yesterday was the trick or treating. It was we got snow already. We already have a half foot of snow on the ground. And getting out there and then being out in the cold, I don't think did me any favors, but gosh darn it, you got to do that when you got kids. You cannot skip the trick-or-treating.
No. Well, and do you get some candy out of it? Like, do you get to pick your favorites at all?
I steal. I call it a candy tax. I tell them that, it's like the government. You might earn this much, but I get this much from your earnings. I teach them how taxes work that way.
Very civic-minded of you. Yeah, hey, it got really cold here, too. We've been saying kind of every show, like, wow, this weather is so weird. This was absolutely the warmest October in the recorded history.
You got her made.
Of Northeast Ohio. But about 4, maybe now it's already 5 days ago, it turned. And it went from, we were never below 70 in the day, the entire month. 30s and wet. At least last night, which was cold, high 30s. It felt cold. At least it was dry. So, yeah, we had the first Halloween for the 2 14-month-olds and for the 6-month-olds. So it was fun and all, but, oh, my, we barely made it an hour because it was just too cold.
Yeah, it's nasty here. It's very cold. We had... when they were out trick-or-treating, it was a balmy, I think, 16 or 18 degrees when they were out there. So it was pretty chilly with a snowstorm going on. So yay us. It was good times.
That is some serious determination.
It was some determination going on. But, no, again, I want to say thanks to Eric for opening up the show. And he's going to be taking the helm the rest of the show. And Clarissa, again, thank you so much for joining us. I just want to thank all of you guys for tuning in. And I also posted a brand new show. It's brand new to a lot of you guys. I took 2 of the scariest shows that we've pretty much ever done at After Hours AM. One of them is the Andrea Perrin show that me and Eric did. Remember that, Eric? That was scary. Remember when we had her on?
Yeah, boy, she said quite an experience. Many experiences.
Exactly, the true story of The Conjuring. And then we had Bob Cramner on a few years ago. He wrote the book Demon of Brownsville Road, and both those shows, I plugged them together. It's a 3-hour extravaganza of fright. And so, if you'd like a little trick-or-treat action, it's up there just for you guys, the fans, to download and enjoy.
I remember the Andrea Perrin one. Yeah, that was scary. Like that real life. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't like it to be so real.
Yeah,
to be quite honest.
well,
exactly.
And tonight we're talking about scary things in their own right, though.
This is true. Like people, like you know what? I've always wondered about this, about Halloween, and about how I wonder if criminals try to get away with things on Halloween because people are all dressed up and stuff like that. But then I'm thinking, nah, real crime doesn't really. It does. It happens. It actually does happen. So.
Oh, well, because think of some of the factors, even kind of beyond the just real obvious Halloween-y, spooky aspect of it. Lots of parties, lots of drinking, lots of idiots out late doing stupid things, and that's what you see every year. There's crimes of passion at Halloween parties every year. I'm as I've mentioned many times, I get about, I think it's 75 different Google alerts. So every term you can think of that would have anything to do with the paranormal and now with the true crime. And so I'll see, I keep Halloween going all year, of course, even though it's only once a year. And even if we were looking at the season, it's maybe, 6 weeks at most. It's been stretched to 6 weeks. But I see Halloween search returns all year round. And usually it's trials from crimes that took place on Halloween.
That's correct. It hadn't, honestly, before this year, it really hadn't actually occurred to me. I don't see many. I don't think I've ever seen an inmate, to be honest with you, that said they committed their crime on October 31st. So this was new. It was new and kind of scarily different.
You would think that armed robbery would go up because the masks.
Yes,
exactly. During Halloween, because everybody's dressed up, you would think that opportunity would be more prevalent.
Totally. That's what I was thinking too. And I did come across a couple of those, but I tried to include it like a whole bevy of different things. But we're not getting to that quite yet.
A countervailing force might be, just thinking of this now, real criminals might consider committing a crime on Halloween to be a bit gauche and jejune.
Amateur hour, maybe, is what they
Exactly.
Know, right?
It's like, man, I'm not going to go out and get drunk on New Year's Eve because that's when all the dorks do it. That's when all the teetotalers do it. I'm going to get drunk whenever I damn well feel like it. That's not New Year's Eve.
Wow.
Well, you know what? I mean, I know we're making fun of this kind of, but I actually think that might factor into it a little bit. Like, if you're going to go out and say, rob a convenience store, Joel, you were talking about robbery, right? You go out on a regular Monday, let's say that's not a holiday, you're not going to run into anybody that's going to give you any grief either. But if you go on Halloween, you never know.
Yeah.
Well, you got people dressed in superhero costumes, right?
Are partying and drunk.
And superheroes.
And superheroes at the same time.
What you're saying is the risk for confrontation may be way higher. I
think it would be a lot higher. On something like Mardi Gras, it's really high.
Yeah, putting it.
I'm sure.
That makes sense too. Yeah. So I think there's forces kind of pushing in both directions. You have some of the natural things that may arise from people being at parties, people, rubbing up against these. Remember what some of those costumes look like, man.
Are they costumes or just like pieces of fabric barely sewn together?
Oh yeah.
Good point. In other words, it's like Band-Aids over those mosquito bites,
I swear. When I was younger, are you kidding me? Some of the costumes? No.
Yeah.
Like, I would have just been, my parents would never have let me leave the house ever.
Last year was Harley Quinn that was all the rage. And we all know how she dresses in the comics. So I don't think there's too many Harley Quinns this year in my neck of the woods anyway.
When it was 16 degrees and blizzarding.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, this is the year. This is exactly. This is the year of Wonder Woman, and she's not necessarily that scantily clad, but there's sexy everything. If you have sexy Elmo, then you certainly got people who are going to take Wonder Woman in that direction, right?
Yeah,
it's true. Although I have never seen a sexy shrink outfit.
Well, no.
That's you next year.
Yeah.
Who is that coming down the street? That's Dr. Clarissa Cole, a.k.a.
With the monocle and the cigar.
This is what you do is you get the nurse's outfit minus the little hat, and you carry around a psychological book and wear glasses.
Perfect.
No, you guys are missing the point. All she's got to do is dress like herself.
This is true.
There she goes. Sexy shrink.
I'm gonna get a name tag.
Wow.
Look at you next year. That'd be awesome.
Just dress in your normal clothes. Sexy shrink.
There we go.
Absolutely. Wondrous. All right, well, I know we have lots of crime to get to. Are we putting off the Halloween crime until the next hour, or are we going to include that in this first hour with the weeks, or more or less the seasonal true crime tales?
Well, I was thinking maybe if you guys are game, just do our normal true crime stuff and then do the second hour of the weird Halloween-y stuff. That way we kind of separate them a little bit. Because there's some big news out there that Clarissa, of course, has provided to us. And, of course, this is brought to you by thecriminalcode.com. I've been talking about the Criminal Code now for months. And you can go over there and really check anything you want out in true crime. In fact, I was just there reading up on, about the Pixie case, where the boy was killed by his own father with cyanide, of all things. And that was over there at the Criminal Code, along with Dr. Cole's notes. It's the one-stop shop for all things true crime. And while you're at it, if you feel like it, beans is the holiday season or Halloween season, and it's always a cool time to check our site out at america's-most-haunted.com. And while you're there, think about one more stop after you're done there, and let's give a little love to Fate Magazine. Fate Magazine's been around for 40-plus years. They have been one of the forerunners in the paranormal for many, many, many generations. So after you're all done at these other cool sites, get yourself a subscription to Fate Magazine. Go to fatemag.com.
Wow, well done for a sickly individual.
Yeah, exactly, right? I'm spent now. See you guys.
Hasta la bye-bye.
All right, Dr. Cole, where are we going to go first?
Well, I wanted to get to this story, even though it's not necessarily weird, just because I feel like because of when it came out, it kind of got buried a little bit.
Okay.
Those stories that they come out on a weird day. So, a story like this coming out on Halloween or right after. So do you guys remember that viral video of that nurse who they forcibly arrested? Yeah, and she was just trying to protect her patient. Remember that?
Yeah, the nurse the nurse beat down. Yeah, I remember it well.
Oh, I know, right? And she's just trying to protect an unconscious patient from getting his blood taken against his will for no good reason. Her name is Alex Wubbles, and it just so happened that she was now given a $500,000 settlement from Salt Lake City.
That was fast. That only happened, 2 or 3 months ago, maybe a little bit longer? Already there was a settlement? Ooh, they wanted to get her off their plate.
Yeah, I guess the actual altercation happened sometime during the summer, and then the video went viral after that. But it really hasn't been a long time, especially for something like that. I mean, there was no lawsuit that was even filed.
Here, shut
you
up.
Didn't have a chance to.
Here, shut up. Take this. Go away.
Yeah. We went to the Harvey Weinstein of bribery school. So here's your money. Get out of here.
Well, I mean, on a serious note, it seems like kind of for once, because we end up talking about miscarriages of justice so often, it seems like, or at least justice delayed, which, let's face it, justice delayed is justice denied, my friends.
True.
But this one, it really seems like the right person got the right settlement for doing the right thing in a very brief period of time. So this is I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad to hear that. There is some justice in the world.
I'm glad too, and I'm glad, it's weird because I hear about all these lawsuits from time to time, and sometimes we make fun of them, especially if they seem frivolous, and it's a lot to be upset about. But this nurse, I mean, the pressure, I don't know if people out there truly understand the pressure that's involved when you're dealing with law enforcement all the time. And I love law enforcement, and they have saved my butt many, many times, and I think they are fantastic. Don't get me wrong. But I think sometimes when there's a case, an ongoing case, and time is of the essence, it's hard. it's hard to stand your ground, especially if they're being really forceful about something.
Well,
so,
but but another caveat to the story is the guy they're trying to take blood from was another cop. He was a part-time cop. So,
right, from a different state, which nobody knew.
Idaho.
Yeah.
Idaho. And Idaho wrote the nurse a letter of thanks for defending his civil liberties.
And I would hope, too, that, I mean, I thought her actions were, not just what you should do by the book, what you should do, but just borderline sort of heroic given what she was facing. And so, if anybody's going to get a settlement, I'm very glad that she did. And I hope she has a lot of fun with her $500,000.
Yeah, don't blow it all in one place, though,
yeah.
I don't want to hear about her snorting cocaine off the rear ends of hookers. Well, gigolos, whatever,
Yeah, I know you're going to that. We don't want to see her do that. Yeah, don't blow it all in one place. But really, quite honestly, a bunch of people are popping up now that are listening live. And thanks again, guys, for listening live. We love each and every one of you. They're saying it was way too low, the settlement. That $500K.
I think she could have gotten more.
After she was actually wrongful imprisonment could have been thrown in there as well because they did cuff her. So
they did, and I think I agree. I mean, you know what she said though? This is how awesome of a person she is. Yeah. She's going to donate some of the proceeds to a fund dedicated to helping people obtain body camera footage from cops.
Or
Very specific.
Or get bumper stickers made that says support higher education, send a cop to first grade.
Grim.
I know. We have a lot of law enforcement listens, and they get the joke. Yes, guys, they rib us enough. So, right back at you. Happy Halloween, boys in blue. By the way, anyway, that's a great story. I'm glad that she got a little bit of money out of it. $500K is nothing to sneeze at. But still, I think that maybe there's a little bit of an underpayment going on here. I thought for sure with the wrongful imprisonment, now that they bring it up, and the listeners are bringing that up, that would have been well over $1 million. Because right there's assault. It's an assault case at that point.
It was assault. Oh, yeah. But the other good thing I think that comes out of this, remember the guy, Jeff Payne, the one that was kind of manhandling her?
Yeah.
And they put him on, suspension or whatever. Yeah. He's actually been fired now.
Oh, that's good to hear. That's a silver lining. And then right below that story, I keep looking down at the black box over this lady that's hanging out of a car. What's up with that?
Oh, yeah, it's a very tiny black box, isn't it?
It's a tiny black box.
Yes. Well, this is actually, okay, this is a cautionary tale. It's a terrible story, but I felt like I had to share it. There's a woman who she was, I believe, from the Ukraine or Russia, and she was on vacation with a friend, a female friend. Her name was Natalia Borodina. She got into a car accident in the Caribbean, but car accident doesn't really, would you like to describe I know your voice is sore, but would one of you like to describe what you're seeing in this picture?
Eric and I know Eric see the same thing I am. I'm looking at a woman hanging on a window topless, with not a care in the world at that precise moment when that picture was taken, evidently. And
yes, and she's a very attractive woman.
She's not a bad-looking gal. Don't get me wrong.
That's a headline, I'm telling you. Yeah, topless mother hanging out of car window, killed after her ...
Yes, it is. So to make this story, I gotta flesh it out for people. Her female friend was driving her around in the Caribbean. I don't know. I don't think. They said that they did alcohol and drug testing and they were clean. But she was hanging out of the car window topless, being very, very sexy. And her friend, while driving, mind you, is taking pictures of her as she's hanging out this car window. Quite far.
Always a good idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea right there. And it wow. Okay, she is from Moscow, by the way. The
Moscow,
young lady in question. And I'm always topless when I go to the Dominican Republic, aren't you guys? Come on.
Well, I'm usually not hanging 3 feet out of a window.
But see, I only go topless if I'm hanging out of that spoon car.
Exactly, you have to. It's kind
of on a really treacherous road with a drunken friend driving.
Yeah, I had a dog that liked to do that once. Not topless because he was full of hair, but he loved to put his head out the window.
Yeah, you would have had to shave him.
I would have had to shave him. Then would have been really weird then. But this is ridiculous because you sit there and you go, wow, what a tragic loss of life. But oh my God, then the rational part of your brain kicks in, going, yeah, you should have known better.
Well, absolutely should have known better. It's one of these like stories that you can't kind of help but go viral. Like, I do feel terrible for her and her family. And to just sort of sum up what occurred when the friend was driving and taking pictures, they suddenly, the woman who was hanging out the window, her head suddenly hit a lamp post that they were driving by.
Oh, Darwinism. Darwinism at its best right there and then.
Oh, yeah. Yes. You know what we would call that on Wall Street, for example? Irrational exuberance.
Yes.
She was just a little too exuberant. It is terrible because I'm sure she was having a great time and just thought it was just more fun than a box of puppies. And then wham!
And I can't help but think to myself, like, I mean, first of all, hanging out the window, very stupid. While, in a moving vehicle, all that's stupid, right? But the friend was taking pictures at the time. Yeah, maybe if somebody had been paying attention to the road.
Well, exactly. That's a key part of the issue.
That's ridiculous.
It takes two to do something that stupid.
Yes, it does. One to drive and take pictures at the same time, and the other one to thoughtlessly hang out the window half naked. It's one of these, again, where technology is involved. And I don't know whether to laugh or cry at this. I mean,
it's
what do you
stupidity.
say?
It's stupidity again. And we've talked about it on the show many times. It's the culture of look at me, and that's a little bit what's going on here. And her being topless, of course, that's very salacious. And, even over there, and the lady, quite honestly, was not acting like a 35-year-old should act. I mean, you'd expect this of someone much younger, not someone 35 years old, and to leave an 8-year-old boy behind. It's just a horrible story all the way around.
It is. It's terrible.
It is. Although
it's very sad.
I take exception to the whole 35-year-old thing because it's like, I'm 41. I do stupid stuff. Sometimes.
Well, we all do stupid stuff, but then our rational brain's kicking pretty fast, going, "Wait a minute, you're doing something really stupid."
It's true. It's true. Like, I could possibly die doing this.
Exactly.
Yeah. But if you want to check it out, it is one of the stories. You can look her up. But yeah, there's an 8-year-old left behind, like you were saying, Joel. So very tragic.
That is the saddest. Well, the second saddest part is the 8-year-old. But number one, what's sad is she's just trying to enjoy herself and acting like an idiot, and then died like an idiot. That's the bad part.
Yeah, exactly. And let's see. I have another, okay, so you remember that song by Alanis Morissette, the ironic song where nothing was actually ironic?
Hello. Yes.
So I actually finally
isn't that ironic? Story. Don't you think?
No.
No, I got to tell you guys, really quick, just because you brought it up, I got to tell you guys, I interviewed her right after that album came out. She was actually in the studio. By the way, the palest woman I've ever spoken to.
What?
And, yeah, she was translucently pale. I mean, oh my God, Canadian. Anyway, she was in the studio, very nice. She was super young at the time, and we're talking when that album came out, she was maybe 22 or something like that. And I said, now you realize people are, the album had just came out. It was, the big song was You Ought to Know, right?
Yeah, yep.
The massive hit, You Ought to Know. And this was on the album. So people were getting to that, more slowly, and it wasn't a big hit yet. It became a hit also. Anyway, I asked her about it, and she goes, yeah, well, I guess I'm dumb. I'm only 22. All right, whatever. Okay. So we moved on from there. So even she is aware that the instances presented in the song aren't actually irony.
Yeah. Exactly. No, they're not. And but I, since that, I've been waiting to find kind of a very ironic story.
Well, regale us with the ironic story. I thought maybe the topless lady would have been ironic. Losing her top while she's topless. Don't you think that's ironic?
Oh.
Don't you think?
Honey, yes.
Oh my! In more ways ironic. Than one. Some being better than others.
Hey, I'm sorry, guys. I had to point out the obvious.
So this one is about two other ladies who must, at some level, be fairly, intelligent. I mean, one, they're not intelligent for being in jail, let's say, but they were in jail in Alberta, Canada, and they escaped. They escaped from jail.
Wow.
In Alberta. I don't know how they did it. They did not provide details on that, but they were recaptured Guess where?
Where?
At an escape room.
So they get out of jail.
That is ironic.
Yeah, don't you think? It's like rain on your wedding day. It's like free advice when you already paid. Best I can do, guys.
Not irony. It's just inconvenient.
Yeah, so the two women who escaped from jail in Alberta, Canada, apparently is so confident of their abilities, they decided to go inside of an escape room. Less than 24 hours after they had escaped an Alberta prison.
Who does that, by the way? I escaped from jail. You know where we should go? An escape room.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Judging by their pictures, guys,
I've been reading up on those while in my cell.
Yeah, judging by their photos, they don't look like. There's no rockets right now that have bearing their names flying anywhere. They're not rocket scientists.
No.
So they escape jail, and they apparently want to go have a little bit of fun. So, hey, we're on the lam. Let's enjoy it. Let's go to escape room. We're so damn good at this. We're going to win the trophies and everything. So they go in there. They get an escape room. Next thing you know, they couldn't escape the cops.
Okay, so here's what I don't get a lot of things about this story, but here's what I really don't get is that, okay, when you do an escape room, if you solve the puzzle, it's kind of a high, when you get out of there in time and you do it and you're like, you feel very smart. I think escaping from jail would be a much bigger high than an escape room would be. Like, wouldn't it be kind of a letdown?
I'll bet you it was like sloppy seconds. I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I think that's a really great point. I think they, not necessarily
I can't believe sloppy seconds was just used.
Subconsciously, they wanted to relive that high. I think you're exactly right. That's why it seemed like a good idea.
Yeah, like, let's do this. Like, we're so good at it. We have to do. I'm like, no, this is like when drug addicts, will talk about, I did coke for the first time and then couldn't re-achieve that high. Unless they went to a supermax prison and broke out, an escape room's not going to do it, girls.
No, there's a big difference.
It's ironic, though, don't you think?
Yes, it is.
It's a little ironic, don't you think?
I don't know how the cops found out they were there, though. The story doesn't tell me.
I would imagine.
That's salient.
Yeah,
right?
Maybe somebody saw them. Maybe there's APB posters everywhere by this time.
Maybe, huh? Why would you be together then? If you escape together, like, why would you want to be together?
Well, because they're besties. You don't understand, they're besties.
Maybe on the way out, right? They're screaming behind them, "We're so happy we're going to an escape room!"
Kind of like when the quarterback...
Suckers.
Kind of like when the quarterback wins the Super Bowl. So where are you going now? Disney World. Maybe it's pretty much par for the course to go to escape room after you get out.
Exactly. Or maybe when they got to the escape room, they're like, "Hey, have you ever been to an escape room before?" "No, but we've been to jail and we busted out of there." Maybe something had to have happened. Someone saw them. Something happened. And you're right. It doesn't show. I'm scouring this little article to see how they were caught. And it doesn't go to details of their apprehension at all. It just says, hey, they were in an escape room. Okay.
Well, they had to fill out a really thorough form before they let them in the escape room.
Yes.
That's, I think, what it was. And
it said occupation, and it's jailbird. Yeah, maybe.
Jailbreaking. What do you think you're going to time? I mean, or like, were the cops already there? Were they having fun in their off time? What?
On the lam.
Yeah, occupation on the lam. Running from the law. That's what we do best.
Unreal. I couldn't believe that this was a real story. And it sounds like it wasn't terribly difficult. It sounds like they jumped a fence, so maybe it was sort of a minimum sort of security. But still, it's still extremely dangerous to do this.
Well, I hear you. But, Eric, man, we got to run to break. And so I will... we're out of here. When we come back, more true crime headlines. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this. Oh, of course, with beautiful Dr. Clarissa Cole, which we have decided that she needs to dress up in a salacious way next year. So, hey, stick around. After Hours AM, the Criminal Code. We'll be right back after a word from these sponsors.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
This is Jen McGowan, founder of Wayward Souls Promotions, a company dedicated to helping individuals, teams, radio shows, and others that are seeking exposure for their individual events, conventions, and shows. We offer a wide variety of advertising, such as web-based article, social media posts, podcast advertisement, and so on. Contact us at paranormalpromotion@gmail.com. Visit us on Facebook at Wayward Souls Promotions, and visit our website at www.waywardsoulspromotions.com.
Welcome back to After Hours AM, the Criminal Code.
Welcome back, my friends, to After Hours AM, the Criminal Code. I'm Eric Olson. Joel Sturgis is here with us, he has a ticklish throat. Don't you, Joel?
I do. I am dying of the plague, I'm happy to say. No, I do not have the bubonic plague again. Worst week ever when I had it. But right along with me, right over here. Hey, Clarissa, how you doing over there? We have Clarissa Cole over right over here with us, and we are covering, of course, all your true crime headlines, brought to you, of course, by the Criminal Code. And you know what? Again, I got to say this one more time. You got to go over to that Criminal Code and read all these cool stories Dr. Cole has. I mean, it is unreal, Dr. Cole. I'm on the site right now, and one thing that always gets me the most about your site, above most all else, is the doctor notes that you get.
Thank you.
You don't get that anywhere else. You get the insight from the doctor. That is so cool because it goes deeper into the story, because a lot of the stories that we see out there are pretty much just top layer. Where now you get to have the doctor give you her complete workup on what was the goals of maybe that person, or what was the person really like, or why she believes that'll happen. Again, that can all be found at thecriminalcode.com. After all done with that, head on over to America's-most-com. Let me try that again, guys. I am under the weather after all. America's-most-haunted.com. Not too bad, 3 times the charm. And there you are going to find this show, of course, all the archives, all the great stuff. Eric, he's the man. He writes all the articles. I don't think we give him enough credit where credit is due. He writes all these cool articles. Mm-hmm. A lot of people talk to me and they go, man, those articles are great you have. Well, that's Mr. Eric Olson over there doing all that. He is an extraordinaire. So getting back
we can't leave off Clarissa, though. I would say, 95% of the content of tonight's article was written directly by Clarissa. So we can't leave her out either, and that came from her site, The Criminal Code, where she does just what Joel said she does. So that's why this show is such a cool blending of styles. And we got Halloween coming up in the second hour. After the top of the hour, Clarissa will be walking us through some of the strangest, most mystifying, and baffling true crime events, murders, disappearances that occurred on Halloween.
Ooh, that was good.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, you guys. But you know what? Before we get to Halloween, I need to talk to you about a doll.
Is it the one that is called Peepee Doll?
What? Yes, it is. I couldn't help it. I was trying for a less juvenile story, and I couldn't do it. I could not pass it up because this was the quote that went with the article. It really didn't have a wiener, but you get the point.
I get the point.
I do get the point. You know, we have Annabelle the doll out there. We have all sorts of other dolls. We got Chucky out there. Now we have the Peepee Doll.
I could not pass it up because doll. All right, sexual. This is a quote: sexual style assault and Peepee Doll. Those terms are both in the same title.
Okay, who assaulted who here? I mean, did the Peepee Doll kind of get a little assaulty?
That's the technical term. Yes, it did. So Isabel Lassiter, she went to a Japanese steakhouse in Tennessee where apparently, so there's a chef involved too. All right.
Oh, okay.
The chef took this Peepee Doll and sprayed her in the face with it.
Well, what was the substance she was sprayed with?
I know exactly what this is because this has happened to me. Go ahead.
What? Okay, it was just water. I guess they use this thin stream of water to cool down grills, etc. It's like one of those steakhouses where they cook things in front of you sometimes.
It's hibachi. Hibachi.
Thank you. Okay. So they use the water in a myriad of different ways. It just so happens that the water is stored in this container.
This Peepee Doll. Often, for example, our nearby Japanese steakhouse, they forsake water for a much more interesting sake.
Oh, interesting.
So
I would much rather be sprayed with that, actually. Yeah.
Of course. So what they do is, you're seated around the grill. That's in the center, right? And you have your hibachi man, who's theoretically Japanese or pretending to be. I find they're often from other Asian countries. Where are you from, really? The Philippines. Don't tell anyone. That kind of thing. So anyway, what they will do at our place is all the adults get squirted in the mouth from as far away as the guy can get. And he's backing up as he's squirting. It's a competition. How much sake can you drink out of this doll's wiener is really what it boils down to.
Is it the same type of doll in this place?
Oh, they always use them everywhere, yeah.
That's twisted.
Because you can squeeze them, and because they're so silly looking, right? They're on the one hand so inoffensive looking, but so they can be a little bit naughty, right? Where the squirt hole is where one might urinate.
Okay, that's kind of disturbing, Eric. I don't know if I'd want a guy just squirting theoretical urine all over me.
Well, the woman said he pulled his little shorts down, had a wanger, and he squirted me right in the. That's what she called it. He had a wanger, and he squirted me right in the face.
So how is this sexual assault, or how is this sexual style assault? I mean, she goes to the hibachi grill. She knows, like Eric said, the custom of that grill. It's kind of a game they play at hibachi grills.
Yes, exactly.
And why is she angry? She knows what she's in for. That's like going to a bar and say, gosh, I'm really offended they serve beer here.
How dare they?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just what they do.
I don't know if they'd ever been to one of these before. Lassiter's husband, James, called the spraying, quote, a sexual style assault on my wife.
He's being over dramatic with that. Come on.
Nonsense. All right, the bottom line is this. The ones that I have seen used, okay, and the ones they use right here in Aurora, Ohio, just a couple miles away, not even right nearby here, it does not have any anatomical elements. It's just a hole, okay, in the smiley Peepee Doll face, right? So maybe that element, if this doll that was being used at that place was more anatomically correct, that could cause more issues, but still, what nonsense.
Yeah.
Sexual assault, give me a break. And it was water, right? It wasn't...
Yes. With water.
I mean, I'm on Amazon.
And
where did she get squirted? In the face?
In the face? I'm guessing he was trying for the mouth.
Right, exactly.
Well,
what idiocy. This is the kind of thing we were just talking about, where we say, we talk about a lot of lawsuits and this, that, accusations, and a lot of them are nonsensical, and that's why we were really happy that the defending nurse got her cool guy settlement. This is one of those frivolous, frankly idiotic, claims. Let's face it.
Well, it's funny because I'm on Amazon because I've never really seen one of these up close, and I thought, well, let's take a peek. The one that was used for her has no anatomic parts, according to what they're saying on Amazon. You can get authentic Peepee Dolls are used in authentic hibachi grill restaurants in Japan that have the complete male anatomy.
Well, think of how many fountains that you've seen, though.
And so, I mean, that is their custom. I'm reading now more how it's been used. Yeah, it's an ancient custom. That's something that's been done in hibachi grills. According to this little article, forever. It's been a game that started off as one that people would play in their home. It was some type of Japanese word. Basically, it means catch the peepee. And it was just a game that they would play. Catch the peepee, here it comes. And you're right. And there's a video you can watch here, people catching the peepee. But here's the deal. Is if you are going to hibachi grill and you're offended by something that is really, quite honestly, in the spirit of being at a hibachi grill, because
it's
quite
just
honestly,
silly.
You don't want to go to a place that's like, oh, here's your food, there you go. You're going there for entertainment as well. That's why people go there. It's partly entertainment.
Well put. You're exactly right.
And if she can't handle the fact that a non-anatomically correct Peepee Doll sprayed her with water, maybe she better go find a safe place to go hide, because you know what? There's a whole lot worse things in this world.
She should find a corner to cower in, is what I would say. Because this is such an inoffensive thing. It's slightly naughty. And you know who they really do it for? They do it for the kids, because the kids know it's slightly naughty, and they think it's hilarious.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, that's the thing. It's like normally I think I am maybe more sensitive to this kind of stuff, but I did not see anything.
Well, if you take a look at this mouth breather that's all mad, yeah, she looks like she should be all mad. I mean, she should really be mad at someone, but maybe not the hibachi guy.
Where was this again?
Cleveland.
Oh, it was not. Was it really?
Yeah, Cleveland.
Really?
Oh, that's too hilarious. Oh my!
I mean, if you take a look
I
at
probably
this lady.
was it a Benihana's or what? Does it say?
I don't know if it said. It just says Japanese restaurant. It doesn't say.
Yeah, it just says.
I don't
Yeah,
think
you're
it
right.
says.
You're right.
Small world.
Yeah, Cleveland. According to Cleveland 19. Yeah, this is a Cleveland story. And the lady, quite honestly, let's just say it put really like this. If my dog looked like that, I'd shave its butt and teach it to walk backwards.
Oh.
Sorry.
So you think she's kind of more like angry at life?
I think she's mad at somebody. Maybe the creator or something. Why'd you have to make me so ugly? I don't know. Maybe something like that's going on.
It seems like her husband too is very offended, which was interesting.
Have you ever met somebody that really they're just mad at anything they can possibly be mad at? You know,
yes.
No matter how small it is, no matter how inoffensive, they're gonna find a reason to be mad at it. You know.
Oh yeah.
She needs to go find an island with like-minded people and go there.
Oh no! This was in Tennessee. Wasn't in Cleveland.
Cleveland 19 was reporting it. I'm sorry. You're right. It wasn't Tennessee.
Okay.
I was thinking that. Well, something that's all right. Yeah, It's basically Nashville.
But they actually called the police.
Suburban Nashville.
They actually called.
What do you say when you call police? Actually, that would be
to file a report.
911. How can I help you?
I was squirted by a Peepee Doll at a hibachi restaurant. Come help me!
It's just so silly. First of all, she should have known the cardinal rule: no seafood in Oklahoma, no Japanese hibachi in Tennessee. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
Well.
Japanese food doesn't come jumping at me when I hear the name Tennessee. I'm just saying.
Points.
Good
points.
You know what I mean? So anyhow, they're great for other things.
I'm sure there's plenty of good ones. I was making a really oblique reference.
Hey man, you don't go to IHOP and order a steak, okay?
Mm-hmm. I mean, you could, but
it ain't gonna be good. All right. Just saying, just throwing it out there.
Yeah. Anyway, right? You're not supposed to do that. There is this old thing. I have no idea where it came from. That saying, you don't order seafood in Oklahoma. I don't know why poor Oklahoma got stuck with this. Just meaning that it's inland. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get seafood when you're not near the sea. That's all. It's not going to be fresh. That's all.
Hey, that's a life lesson right there. The next story, though, the police say the man really should have learned a life lesson about beer coolers.
See, I love these food-themed stories, and I'm almost kind of proud to say that this is a Wisconsin man. Is that wrong?
That is a little strange.
Sorry.
He looks like he looks like he's from Wisconsin. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, well, okay, thank you. So there is a guy. So we've had stories before about people getting locked into these walk-in freezers because they do have those big handles where it kind of locks you in, right? Now, this 38-year-old man in Wisconsin, apparently, well, he said in Marshfield, got locked into one of these walk-in coolers overnight on Tuesday in Wisconsin, and it was a convenience store, so there was a lot of beer.
Well, yeah,
in there, yeah. So apparently he drank a lot of them while he was trapped.
Yeah, it was a quick trip on top of it, so they only sell 3 too. So it took him a long time to get drunk.
Oh man, so he got locked in apparently around midnight, so 11:50, and he wasn't freed until almost 6 a.m. on Wednesday.
Well, he was cold,
man.
He was, but the weirdest part about this story is that this was a 24-hour store, so all he would have had to do is tap on the glass, and they would have found it.
He was drinking free beer, all right. He's trying to disprove the old adage: there's no such thing as free beer.
He disproved it. He did. He was rescued by an employee at almost 6 a.m. when the employee walked by and noticed him. He wasn't even trying to get out.
Wow.
Tippling.
He's like, leave me alone. Tippling. Leave me alone. I'm drinking.
He was trying to recreate his favorite scene from The Shining.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Got pretzels.
Remember when he's locked in there? She locks him in. Let me out, dear. Oh, everything's fine.
Oh, yeah, that's
I'm
right.
okay.
That's right. Yeah. It's not okay.
No, it wasn't okay at all.
No, it wasn't okay at all. And this guy was at a Quick Trip. We have those around here. That's for anyone that might not know what a Quick Trip is. It's a Midwestern thing. I think you have them, don't you? There, Eric. Quick Trips where you are.
I have not heard of that one. No.
Oh, really? Okay, I think we have them out here, Joel. I've seen one or two.
Okay, we have Quick Trips over here. Primarily, a lot of them located where
Midwest,
I am in Wisconsin. It's basically all you can eat and all you can buy. Basically a small grocery store that happens to sell gas. But the bad part about buying beer at a Quick Trip is this, and I know this from personal experience, is the beer is usually pretty skunky by then. It's old beer. I mean, it's not a good place to be buying your beer. And it's 3.2 beer on top of it. So, I was kind of surprised when I heard as a Quick Trip was his target.
Well, you know what they had there though was I've never had one. So Four Loko.
Oh,
right?
Really? Yeah, that's the caffeine and the booze. Ooh,
Oh, yeah. He drank 4 of those.
Whoa! Wow, man, he's a busy boy.
3 cans of Four Loko. Yeah.
Busy boy.
Oh.
Huh.
Yeah, and so he came out. They got him out. He didn't really come out. They found him and said, "Get out of the freezer." And he didn't pay for his drinks or the 3 cases of beer he damaged when he fell over them.
No kidding. Wow, man.
I don't know what that's about.
That guy is, I'm looking at his mugshot right now. He looks really like, what'd I do wrong? Why am I even here?
I know, I wandered into a freezer. What happened?
I'm the victim.
What option did I have? I was just trying to drink my way out.
Yeah, I'm the victim here. I was the one that was trapped.
I was drinking my way to China.
Because I heard they have hibachi restaurants that pee on you. Or is that Japan?
Only in Tennessee. No, that's everywhere.
Oh, okay.
They do that everywhere. That woman's an idiot.
That's crazy. And so I got on this kick then, right? So I'm finding this hibachi story and this freezer story. So then I found a spam story, and it just, how things are valued in certain places that may not be valued everywhere.
Yes.
So I want to clarify for all the listeners before I even dive into this. All right. This is a real story. I am not being racist, or insensitive. This is an actual story. Spam is very important in Hawaii and Hawaiian culture.
Yeah, and Minnesota culture. Oh, by the way.
Pardon?
And Minnesota, because we make it here. Never mind. Go ahead.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, Austin, Minnesota, right down the road from me is the Spam. That's where we make it. That's where it's all made, is Austin, Minnesota, at the Hormel factory.
It's Hormel, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. That's kind of cool. Okay, so there's the Minnesota connection, but the Spam in... So I already knew that it was popular in Hawaii, and there's a lot of, like, stereotypes about that or whatnot, but apparently it is so popular that all of the stores recently in Honolulu have relocated, it says, quote, all the corned beefs are being relocated to the front of the store.
Wow. For
and,
high
you have,
security.
and you have to ask for assistance to get it.
Behind glass before you know it. You know, they make you sure you're licensed to get 5 cans or more.
Right. It's like getting spray paint now at stores. You got to, like, ask people. At least out here you do. So that same month, and I'm like, what is going on? So apparently 8 cases of Spam were stolen from a Safeway that month. And then the same month, 3 women were foiled while trying to steal 18 cases of Spam.
Wow, how do you shove that many cases down your pants?
I know cases. How many are in a case?
12 in a case.
Spam a lot.
You know what? If you love America and you love your freedom, you could thank Spam. What do you think the GIs ate during World War II? One of the main sources of protein was Spam. So,
I have an entire cookbook of Spam recipes that I got where? Where would you... Yes.
Woo! Yay!
Well, you know, what's funny is here now in Minnesota, there is what we call a Minnesota Spam that's only sold here. It's not exported anywhere else. And
not for export.
Not for export. Only it's actually a higher grade of Spam. It's the really good stuff. Right?
Oh my God.
You guys are all getting that.
Uncut?
Yeah, it's like in the uncut Coke, you know what I mean? Like in the movies, they go, yep, that's the good China white. No, we actually have a special Spam. They call it a Minnesota Tradition Spam. That is really, it's a higher grade Spam. It's actually very, very tasty, very, very good. What you guys get have the gelatin around it and just kind of, put it outside. Not this kind. This is like more of a fresh canned meat. It's actually very tasty, very, very good. Just saying.
Wow. Well, apparently, even the gelatinous Spam. They're calling it. This is what they're calling it. It's organized retail crime. Yeah. We've heard they work through middlemen. They're selling it from the backs of their cars.
You know, Eric, you and I, you need to come
black market.
You need to come over here, and we can get a can of Spam here for like $1, right? We're gonna get like 1,000 cans of Spam. And we're going to sell them to people in Hawaii and become instant millionaires overnight. Just in the great Spam black market.
I think that's genius move. Well, at minimum, it would fund a trip to the island.
It would. We'll be like, we got your hookup. Come over here. Shut up now. I got the stuff.
That's a good idea. You got to use the accent, of course. But
yeah. Or you mean the Minnesota accent? Yeah, I
no. Well, that maybe combine that with the Hawaiian accent.
Well,
so you'd have a
I'm
Minnesota
not sure
Hawaiian accent.
I'm not sure how that'd come out and how that would sound, really. But I do know what you're saying. You got to blend in. You don't want to be too conspicuous during the Spam. During the trade-off in the middle of the night at the Safeway in the parking lot.
You'd go, don't you know, brah?
Yeah.
Brah. Yeah, that's what I was
Don't you know?
They're actually saying that, not just selling it like on the side, but they actually think that cans of Spam are being used as currency by desperate drug addicts.
Desperados. I wonder if they're using it like cigarettes in prison. But
I know, like I want some Coke, I'll give you some Spam.
We're talking about Spam.
Oh, look what I have right here. I have a can of Spam in my anus.
Smuggling that around, that would be very, very painful, let me tell you. Because it has its own can opener on it.
Oh,
that really
right.
hurt. That really hurt.
Wow.
Yeah, one wrong move, and you have a heinous anus.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's grim stuff. I gotta tell you, Spam, and I, we don't mix.
Why not?
It's the salt. Do you know how much salt is in Spam?
Well, no, now they have salt-free Spam over here anyway.
What?
Well,
Yes.
that seems obscene. I can't. That's like, oh, I have some dry water.
Oh my
here.
Lord! I'm telling you, you come into a grocery store in Minnesota, and you're gonna see more varieties of Spam than you even realize existed.
I bet.
Salt Spam.
It's all there, man. You have the classic. You have the nacho cheese Spam. You got the eggs of Spam in a can. You got it all right there.
Whoa. That blows my mind. Eggs with Spam?
Yeah.
In a can?
Yes, they can it. They cook it. They make it in an omelet, and they put it in a can for you.
Know what Spam is? I assume you guys know this, right?
Yes. It's lips and
I
bubbles.
It's the hot dog of pork.
The lips and buttholes.
Okay. So just like leftover pig.
It's leftover meats, and it is very, very. It's all basically chopped. They throw it in a blender, basically.
Okay. I'll be above board here. I used to work for Hormel, and I used to work in the Spam factory.
Heavily salted, right?
Yes. When I was a kid, I would go get a job in the summer sometimes because it's actually south of me, but I had relatives down in that area. And a bunch of them worked for Hormel. And so, I'd get a job when I was 16, 17 years old working for Hormel during the summer. And because that was their big production is during the summer because they're gearing up for Hawaiians. Or actually, they cater heavily to the Hawaiians. Spam does, obviously. But they're more or less in big production for their, because the Christmas stuff is, they got to ship it over there and da-da-da. Well, anyhow, I saw how it was made. And I'm telling you, if you've seen how it's made, you would think twice about eating it.
Mm-hmm. But of course, you can say that about anything.
Oh, yeah. We all,
right?
Same company made hot dogs. Same building. So you're right. It's a hot dog. It's heavily salted. Basically, it's whatever they swept up off the slaughter room floor that they could grind up, mechanically separate, and can and sell. That's really basically what it is. You don't know what you're getting. It's like a mystery meat. Who knows?
I'm such a carnivore. I'd think about it for about 5 minutes, and if it smelled good, I'd eat it.
Yeah,
it's bad.
Well, there's some jobs you didn't want there at that plant. So,
oh, I believe it.
Like jelly manufacturer guy. He didn't want that one.
Yeah, but it's like you know what it is? I have been working in prisons for too long, Like if it's moderately better than the average, say, inmate food, I'll eat it.
A can of Spam and a thing of ramen noodles, you're in heaven, is what you're saying.
Oh, yeah. No, they make some good spread, I'm telling you.
This is great. This is high living.
Hey, you can crush up Cheetos and ramen and all this stuff together, and oddly, it ends up tasting good. Yeah.
Really? Ugh, I don't know. I do not know. But you Spam now, Eric, you have a Spam cookbook, and you don't like Spam, or do you not like it?
Do I not like Spam or the book or both?
Or a Spam, one of those evil meats that make you sick after you eat it?
Oh, it's just the salt content. I'm not even terribly concerned about the meat content because, I'll eat a hot dog. I like hot dogs. But I don't eat a lot of hot dogs. I'll eat a hot dog every once in a while. That is how I would handle
It's
Spam.
The pickling process. You don't like it.
It's just too salty, right? It doesn't agree with me. Too much salt, on anything, and I makes me feel kind of sick. That's all. You kind of get the salt sweats, and I don't feel so good. Well,
I cannot get my family to eat Spam. They will not do it. They will not eat Spam. Now, when I was growing up, it was a staple, of course, in my household. Spam and eggs is pretty much a Sunday morning cuisine, man. But now Hawaii, you're right. It's a big black market for the Spam. And the prices, they are going up. That's why I do believe that we should start selling Spam online, only to Hawaiians there, Eric. We'll ship it in a indescript, paper bag.
We are entrepreneurs. Absolutely.
We really are.
It only makes sense. I utterly agree. Absolutely.
We got to run a break, everyone. We're done waxing philosophical about spam. When we come back, your Halloween haunted, true crimey headlines. Don't go anywhere. This is After Hours AM, and we'll be right back right after this. After Hours AM, the Criminal Code. We'll be right back after a word from these sponsors.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Yeah, hi. I'd like to report a bear sighting.
Location.
My backyard.
Oh, your backyard. Try telling a bear that.
I did, and this bear talked back.
Talking bear, that's rich.
No, wait, it was Smokey Bear.
Smokey? Why didn't you say so?
I did say so.
Continue.
I was burning yard waste.
Oh, boy.
He told me to burn legally and responsibly, and to remember that if it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave.
And as always, he's right. You know, 9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans. That means 9 out of 10 wildfires can be prevented.
Yeah, I know that now.
Thanks to me.
Actually, thanks to Smokey.
As usual, the talking bear gets all the credit. Get your Smokey on. Always burn responsibly and contact your local fire department for open burning regulations. Because 9 out of 10 wildfires can be prevented. Brought to you by Smokey Bear, the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council. Learn more at smokeybear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hi, Tom Bodette. If you can hear me, then you have an internet connection, which means you can do cool things online, like listen to streaming radio, obviously, or watch a video of a monkey washing a cat. Let your freak flag fly. Or you can book a room at a great price at motel6.com. Isn't the internet wonderful? Everything you want right at your fingertips, and whoa, did not need to see that. I'm Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you.
This is Jen McGowan, founder of Wayward Souls Promotions, a company dedicated to helping individuals, teams, radio shows, and others that are seeking exposure for their individual events, conventions, and shows. We offer a wide variety of advertising, such as web-based article, social media posts, podcast advertisement, and so on. Contact us at paranormalpromotion@gmail.com, visit us on Facebook at Wayward Souls Promotions, and visit our website at www.waywardsoulspromotions.com.
Excuse me. Thousands of cancer patients can't afford a place to stay when the best treatment is far from home. A room shouldn't be the difference between life and death. Let's make sure that everyone who needs a room gets one. Let's make some noise. Let's help the American Cancer Society finish the fight.
Text ROOM to 41518 to donate $10.
Only in the forest can you see this. But nothing beats the moment you see that.
Cool!
That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. And you might just see this. Visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to After Hours AM, the Criminal Code.
Welcome back to After Hours AM, the Criminal Code Halloween edition, my friends. I'm Eric Olson, and Joel is with us, but he is under the weather. So I'm helping do the lifting for the poor lad. And who else is with us?
Dr. Clarissa Cole. Hey.
Hey, everybody. And Eric is right. I am under the weather, but tomorrow night we're going to have a great show on tap. We're having Nick Redford on the show. You're going to want to tune in. If you're a big fan of everything that he does, hang around 10 minutes. It'll change because that's how many books the guy has out. But we're going to have him on, and we're going to be talking about shapeshifters. Again, guys, I do apologize. And it's hard talking with a plugged-up sinus cavity. Anyhow, getting back to what I was saying there is Nick will be on. We're going to talk about all sorts of UFOs, ghosties, good Halloween-y kind of just discussion. Now, speaking of good Halloween-y discussion, again, Clarissa Cole comes through with us and just blows us away all the time with the headlines she brings. And now, not only is she true crime headlines, but she's Halloween stories of crime and death and mayhem. By Clarissa Cole?
Definitely. Yes, we have to like I was saying earlier, it's amazing to me how many true crime things that exist on Halloween. And I wanted to start because Joel, you have kids, and Eric, you have kids that are a bit older now. So imagine if they got very, very, very upset over candy. What do you think is the worst thing they would do?
No. I just experienced this last night because my youngest was only able to go trick-or-treating for an hour. And oh my Lord, the proverbial fecal matter hit the fan. I mean, she was angry, screaming, yelling, stomping, but she gave it up about 10 minutes after she realized, I can have some of this candy. All right, so she was happy. But now I have seen some really good fits over candy, but they're all by children. This next story does not look like a young child to me.
Well, no, I mean, this next story, he was 55. Years old. It was a Chicago resident named Liddell Peoples. This occurred in 2011, and he got into an altercation with his girlfriend, also not a spring chicken necessarily. She was 49 years old, Maria Adams, and Adams allegedly took a bag of Peoples' Halloween loot. So I don't know, did they go trick-or-treating? How did this occur? I don't know. It doesn't tell me. But this sent him into a violent rage, and he reportedly took out a knife and stabbed her.
Are you kidding me? Over a bag of chocolate? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, and he attempted to defend himself when he was arrested, saying that she took his candy.
Wow, man.
I mean, is there any candy that you would kill over, like maybe a candy they don't make anymore?
Well, maybe.
No, because, sugar to me is about the same as salt, frankly. I mean, I can eat a little bit of candy. Who doesn't like a little bit of candy here and there? But, too much sugar doesn't agree with me. So I just don't get all worked up about it. Now, you were talking about who would do such a thing in fights, and I have older kids. Yeah, I have a almost 14-year-old and a just turned 18-year-old. They almost got into a fist fight over what? Candy.
Really?
Yes, because the 18-year-old, she's just too old. She can't go trick-or-treating. So the 13-year-old had promised to get, quote-unquote, extra candy for her.
Oh, I see.
And then when the time came, he goes, screw you. I'm the one who went trick-or-treating in the 39 degrees. I'm not giving you my candy.
Wow, man.
So there was a confrontation there. There were some fisticuffs brewing, but fortunately we had enough bodies in the house to stand between them.
Well, actually, I hear this a lot when people are fighting over candy, to be honest with you. That's exactly what I hear.
And now, the final crowning touch to this cake. Take a bite.
That's exactly what happened at home.
I bet it was.
He was mad.
And then the knives came out.
Yes.
Baby Ruth is my favorite, actually. I love Baby Ruth.
Chocolate.
I like Baby Ruth's fine. No.
So
Again,
this is, I mean, this is like, so a grown man.
Grown man. He's AARP eligible. The guy can live in an old folks community. Let's face it, a retirement community.
Sure. No, I get you. I'm looking at the story that Clarissa's provided for us, and so the guy is really, really angry that the lady took his loot, his Halloween loot, which I would assume then with that kind of language he went trick or treating for her. And the man may have an argument to, yell at her, say, hey, give me back my loot, but not to stab her. So what did he tell the cops, though, when they arrived?
It would have been an overreaction.
Yeah, it might have been a little overreaction.
Yeah, but he told the cops essentially that, hey, she took my Halloween haul and I'm not happy about it. I don't know how the cops reacted to that.
Wow. I was going to say, I would imagine the responding officers, after they said, well, why'd you stab her? She took my candy. They didn't go, oh, my God, man, I'm glad you called, because thievery like that is just so wrong. She got what she had coming. No, I'm pretty sure they arrested him and threw him in jail and said, what the hell is your problem, you AARP eligible man?
It sounds like that is indeed what they did.
You deranged sugarholic, you.
It's so very sad. But that is just one of this next story is actually really...
my baby Ruth.
Oh, I do love Baby Ruth. I need one. I'm serious. Anyway, this was actually quite a tragic story and sort of, it is accidental, but just through the tragedy of it. This is in 1962. The Indiana State Fairgrounds Coliseum, they hosted a Halloween holiday on ice skating exhibition on Halloween. It must have been a lot colder back then.
Must have been.
So, unbeknownst to the attendees, a propane tank leaked through the entire performance. Oh. Now, I don't know much about this. Can you smell propane?
Yes, you can. Propane.
You can.
They have an additive in it.
Did they in 1962, though?
Yes. Yeah.
I think so.
They have had it since the 40s. Propane was actually a large fuel that they used during World War II, to be honest with you. A lot of things ran on propane. In fact, when you see the guy with the tank on his back with a flamethrower, that's a propane derivative that they're using.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, exactly.
What does it smell like?
Well, it smells a lot like a rotten egg, if you ask.
Like natural
sulfur.
gas?
Yeah,
have you smelled natural gas in your
Not
house?
Really, no.
Well, that's a good thing, because if you did, you'd have to evacuate.
It is a rotten egg. That's what it's supposed to simulate. It's that strong.
Yeah, it's very strong. You know it. You know the smell right away.
A teeny leak. Like we had a really, really small, nominal leak from our water heater. Okay. And, it was a leak where it would take a week for enough to come out that it was measurable. Yeah. And yet you could still, if you put your nose up to it, you could smell it. Well, so you knew something was going on. That's how we knew there was a leak. Because of the smell. It's really powerful because just exactly for that reason. Normally, in nature, it has no smell, just like natural gas. There's no smell. So they add it to it for identification purposes because it's so dangerous.
Exactly. Oh, wow. I would imagine in their certain application, it was probably a popcorn machine or actually a lot of Zambonis use it as well. Propane is their engine.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. They didn't say what it was from. They just said that it was filling so I guess the room was unventilated.
Oh, that's good.
Fairgrounds Coliseum. And as the skaters were preparing for their pinwheel finale, the gas made its way to an electric popcorn machine, which ignited a massive explosion.
Killed
75 people.
Wow. Oh, my Lord. When was that?
1962, Indiana.
Wow. Oh, my God. That's a lot of people.
That's terrible.
That's a big boom, let me tell you.
Yeah, no kidding. I just couldn't believe that. I guess I was just wondering about that. How did someone not smell it or know?
I once saw a house explode because of natural gas. I witnessed it. I was living down south, and I think I was at Sonic. I was eating, and I heard kaboom, and I looked over way down the block, and I saw remnants of a house flying all over the place. Well, it turned out that their hot water heater had malfunctioned. And the thermocoupler, which is the thing that controls your pilot light, it went out, and it normally a thermocoupler has a check valve in it that if it's no longer flowing, if the pilot light goes out, there's a check valve on that system to shut everything down. So everything is shut down once the pilot light's out. Because it works on a heat-sensitive system. That's a whole I used to run a plumbing department a long time ago. So anyhow, That being said, their thermocoupler had malfunctioned, and so it was spilling gases home. Well, evidently, the phone rang, or really anything that can touch off natural gas. It could be a stack of electricity in the air, it'll touch it off. And kaboom, the house went kaboom, and I saw that a whole bunch of stuff flying everywhere. Yep.
Wow, I mean, that's crazy. Obviously, I mean, I was thinking like even a spark from like skates together.
Anything. Any spark will cause natural gas to go off. Or propane or anything.
So that, I mean, that is tragic. There's this one, like, okay, so this is something like I was talking about before that I've wondered about with Halloween, and I literally did not expect to find any examples of this because I thought it was just my overactive kind of forensic imagination at work. But it has happened. So apparently a few days before Halloween in 2005 in Frederica, Delaware. So it's just a few days before Halloween. And I don't know, like some towns don't do a lot for it, but apparently there were a lot of decorations up in the town.
Okay.
And the town was ready, and there was a house that had a pretty grisly hanging body from a tree amid the rest of the Halloween decor that hung there for hours, 15 feet high. And then it turned out it was an actual person.
Oh.
That had committed suicide.
On purpose. I'm
Yes.
assuming committed suicide. It wasn't like a prop got awry.
No, not to my knowledge, no.
Wow.
It was someone that committed suicide.
Wow, man.
That's
I'm reading
creepy.
this. That is creepy.
You know, you keep hearing about, and I guess supposedly it's really true, in various, amusement parks, the most famous being Disney's, the original Disneyland Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes.
One of the skeletons in there is a real skeleton.
Are you serious?
Dead serious. Now, it's not still in there, right? But when they built it, it had come from a prop house. It's one of these things where they didn't know it, but it turned out, in tracing it back, someone ended up tracing it, and it was a real skeleton. And the underlying humor, and of course you've heard about they used real skeletons on the Poltergeist film.
Yeah.
The scene in the pool,
Yeah.
right, where she is frenziedly fighting with the skeletons that appear. Well, they got them from a prop house, and it just turned out it was much cheaper to use real ones than fake ones.
Wow. Man, I wonder if they told
Not
her
kidding.
that. I wonder if they ever told the actress that. Hey, by the way,
No,
who was it?
Until well after the fact. And that's one of the theories for the supposed poltergeist curse, is that there were real skeletons, which is about as ironic, obviously, as it gets. But you hear about this in various amusement, especially kind of more old-timey, little more sketchy, traveling, carnivals, that kind of thing, with the House of Wonders or House of Curiosities.
Yeah.
And you'll hear that that wasn't fake, man. That was the real thing. Wow. Because if it was a criminal or something, remember, 100 years ago, 150 years ago, people were much, much less concerned with the, disposition of the remains of a hanged criminal, for example, right?
Sure.
They were often exhibited, right? Here is what could happen to you. It's a cautionary tale, and so some of these. Somewhere along the way, people decide that it would be a lot more politic, or they just make the assumption that it's not real, when in fact it is, and then it gets passed on from one hand to another. So that's what happened with Disneyland. Literally, one of those skeletons in Pirates of the Caribbean, I forget which one, was real.
Well, because we did a whole show on Dark Disney. And that was one thing that was brought up.
That's exactly right.
Was that there were there was a real body that there was in the Pirates of the Caribbean.
That is crazy. Like I was thinking, like where did they get them? Like, but you, Eric, what you're saying is that they might be a lot older and they're kind of like passed down, and prop houses get them.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Oh.
Yeah, they may be 100 years old or even older, or maybe they came from a museum. Think about it. Think how many museums have, or at least used to have, skeletons, It's only very recently that Western civilization in particular has become so sensitive about the disposition of remains. You know, it used to be if you were a criminal, even if you were a curiosity, if you had some sort of, strange deformity, think about that. There's museums that existed of the preserved bodies of, deceased people, quote unquote freaks, right?
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
Have you guys heard of that? Speaking of like things like that, have you heard of that exhibit where it's an artist that pretty much plasticizes the muscle and the bodies of people?
Yeah,
I can't remember, Body Works or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, it's a traveling show.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's been everywhere, but I know
we saw it in Vegas.
I saw it too. But what do you guys think about that? I've never asked anybody. What do you think?
Well, I mean,
about
a
that
lot of
done?
it. No, I think that's a subject matter again we've had in a past show, and we discussed that. A lot of it is for teaching reasons. It shows the vascular system,
right?
That's how it really began.
I mean, that's the theory.
Yeah, was as a teaching measure. And then, of course, shows the vascular system and the way the veins run and da-da-da-da. But, yeah, I mean, really now it's become high art. It really has. Like Eric was saying, it's a traveling show. He's seen it in Vegas.
But what do you think of it being
disgusting?
I mean, do you have any moral qualms about it?
I think if it's purely for educational purposes, quote unquote, that obviously does have real value. Of course. Why were there grave robbers? Because corpses were so valuable with med schools.
Yeah. Well,
the medical schools. They needed bodies to work on. So I think that's legitimate. But when you're charging money and showing it as a diversion, as entertainment, I do think it is of questionable
What if,
morale.
though, guys, what if as you're dying, that's your wish, is to become part of that whole thing? I mean, maybe there are people, now I'm over here reading the synopsis over here, thank you, Google, about how this works. Some of the exhibits knew that before they died, and they want to be part of the exhibit.
I would be thrilled to have that done. I know that probably seems weird, but it's like considering what we do with bodies now, embalming them, which is very toxic to the environment, I might add. Embalming them, putting people in a box, putting that box in the ground, which takes up a lot of room. I personally found the exhibit very beautiful, but I think I was probably alone in that, or somewhat alone in that.
She had a few beers before she went in there going, beautiful. Oh, hell. No, I'm kidding, of course. But it's kind of macabre. I mean, it's more than macabre. I mean, it's all macabre.
Yeah, I thought it was very beautifully done.
I wonder if for Christmas, do they dress them up? Do they put little Santa hats on them? Just kind of curious. That's all. I'm just kind of curious.
Like so many things, it's not just what you do, it's how you do it.
Yeah, I agree. And I thought it was very tastefully done. I do think it's educational too, but it was one of those where I was thinking, I was scared to see it at first. I actually was kind of scared. I thought like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be really grossed out by it. It's going to upset me. And then when I saw the actual exhibit itself, I remember thinking I thought it was quite a beautiful example of the human form, and that it could be educational too. But I know people have a lot of religious issues.
Well, we mount animals on our walls.
Yeah, but people get very upset about humans, the same way. So
yeah,
there are clearly ethical issues as long as the exhibit addresses those issues, does not shy away from those issues, is forthright about those issues. Then, if there are places that still wish to present that, then okay. I'm not opposed to it across the board. I do think there are potentially ethical issues, though, with the theatricality, with the entertainment aspect, and even with charging a fee. I think those are all factors that need to be looked at closely.
I agree. I think it's the context of how it's shown.
If somebody wants to plasticize my body and muscles and stuff, I don't even care. I'm good with it.
So I mean, like Eric would say, it's the context, how it's shown, how they deal
All right, well,
with
I
the
know,
subject matter.
Dr. Clarissa Cole, you have not one, not two, not three, but 4 astonishing, horrific tales of Halloween dastardly deeds. So we absolutely want to leave enough time for that. We have about 5 minutes until the bottom of the hour. So why don't we get through any of the additional Halloween time bizarreness so that we can dig into these kind of historical and historic crimes in that final half hour and give you a chance, because you've done workups on them and we really want to hear about those cases.
All right. Well, we have one more blurb left because this also, it sounds like, was accidental, but I just wanted to put out there that there were so many stories like this that I really was shocked with this one because it didn't occur to me. I've been in theater before this a long time, and we've had gallows scenes before in some shows I've done. So I was quite surprised to see so many stories like this. This is just one example. There was a kid, 17 years old, named Brian Joel, who was working for one of these haunted hay rides. I think they have more of them in the Midwest than maybe they do out here.
Yeah, I know exactly what those things are. We got a bunch of them around here.
Yeah, they're fun. I've been on them.
Yeah,
a million times. I love these haunted hay rides where they kind of just take you on a like you're in a wagon with hay all around the bales of hay, and you sit on it and you go through like that haunted forest sort of thing. And this kid, he was helping out. He was volunteering to be one of the people, and he was doing a gallows sort of situation, and he was supposed to have the noose around his neck, but supposedly it was not a noose that tightens, and he would step down about a foot onto the ground, making it appear as though he had been hanged. So during the ride, about 40 people are driven past several Halloween fright exhibits, and the stunt had gone off without problems earlier, but the tractor driver became concerned later when Joel failed to give a speech he normally made as the wagon passed, because he had accidentally hung himself.
That is so tragic.
Yes, it is. But it's just one of many stories like that.
But, it was for a show, and the kid, the last one where the person hung themselves because they were deranged and they wanted to be exhibited as basically, for lack of a better term, as a Halloween prop in their own yard. That's
different.
That's twisted.
This is a kid.
This is a kid that was just having fun during Halloween, wanted to play a role, basically, like you said, a theater. So his gallows scene goes horribly wrong, and he chokes himself. Now, he would have choked to death. He would not have broken his neck with that kind of fall. So,
yeah, you're correct. They think he lost oxygen, like as he was, messing with the
flailing
with
about,
the rope,
trying to get out. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and trying to like make it look right, and then all of a sudden it starts to choke you, sort of a thing. So just sort of like an FYI for people that do theater or do this sort of a thing. You mind if I kind of throw out how it should be done?
Yeah, go ahead. Please.
Okay. If you want to actually suspend yourself, you should be doing it by the waist and by the waist only. And it should be done in a harness system. So you have a harness attached around your waist going up through and underneath the shirt. That is what actually suspends you off of the ground or whatever it is. And the rope that is around your neck should not actually be attached in any meaningful way. So if that one harness were to give way, the rope around your neck would just fall off. It is not ever supposed to be attached in such a way that it could actually choke you. You're always supposed to be suspended by the waist, period.
Huh. Well, good public service announcement for all you thespians out there.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. No, if they say like, oh, it's a breakaway rope, or don't do it.
Man.
Don't buy it.
Yeah. Don't trust someone else's word. Do
Kick
it the right
that
way.
to the curb.
That's right. Well, we got to run a break. When we come back, we're going to have more stories of the Halloween type. But before we go, guys, I know we have an extra minute to play. This was sent to me by actually the Teal Pumpkin Project.
What is that?
I didn't know what it was until I opened the email, listened to it. This is courtesy of the Teal Pumpkin Project.
This Halloween, remember, some kids can't enjoy candy due to food allergies. That's why there's the Teal Pumpkin Project. You put out a pumpkin that's painted teal green. That way trick-or-treaters know that you're handing out things like stickers or glow sticks that are safe. But there are so many other dangers for children on Halloween night. Shouldn't we do more to make sure they're extra safe and healthy? That's why there's the Puce Pumpkin Project for vegetarian children. Just add a pumpkin in front of your door that's painted Puce. That means all the treats you're handing out are vegetables. Healthy Halloween! If you put out a magenta pumpkin, you show support of children who have been bullied. It's hard enough for them already. Don't make it worse for them on Halloween with scary decorations or spooky music. It could frighten them. And finally, the Seafoam Pumpkin for children whose parents don't believe in vaccines. We don't want them picking up easily avoidable diseases like measles, mumps, or chickenpox. Beware the Seafoam. And have a happy Halloween. Remember, if they can get past all the politically correct pumpkins barricading your door, you haven't kept them safe.
After Hours AM, the Criminal Code, will be right back after a word from these sponsors.
Northern Tool and Equipment.
I got a rather serious problem over here.
All right, what are we looking at?
Cranky mother-in-law asleep on the couch in the man cave.
Dear God.
It gets worse.
That's impossible.
She's passed out on the remote.
I stand corrected.
What do I do?
Okay, I want you to grab a Torrin Big Red hydraulic bottle jack.
Okay.
Now you wedge that bad boy in under your mother-in-law and crank her up skyward.
It's working. And got the remote.
Great. Now grab that Torrin Big Red 2-ton folding shop crane and put that woman on wheels.
And away we go.
There's no problem a little horsepower can't solve. Northern Tool and Equipment.
This is Jen McGowan, founder of Wayward Souls Promotions, a company dedicated to helping individuals, teams, radio shows, and others that are seeking exposure for their individual events, conventions, and shows. We offer a wide variety of advertising, such as web-based article, social media posts, podcast advertisement, and so on. Contact us at paranormalpromotion@gmail.com, visit us on Facebook at Wayward Souls Promotions, and visit our website at www.waywardsoulspromotions.com.
Welcome back to After Hours AM, the Criminal Code.
Welcome back to After Hours AM, the Criminal Code. I'm Eric Olson, and this is our special Halloween True Crime edition. Very exciting. And Joel, yes, he's with us, but he is a bit under the weather.
Yes.
So I am handling the breaks, trying to provide just a dollop of solace to my good friend.
Yeah, well, you know, you guys could not have. You absolutely heard the Teal Pumpkin Project. And, of course, Dr. Clarissa Cole is with us, too. I'm sorry, Doctor. I'm sorry about that. You're still with us, right? You didn't run away screaming.
Yes.
Okay. You guys did hear the Teal Pumpkin Project. Basically keeping all of our little goblins and witches and everyone else safe. Do you think that we've gone too politically correct, though?
Yes.
Yes, in every way.
Now, the Teal Pumpkin Project's a real project.
Really?
It is.
Oh, yeah, I know. It is.
It's a real project.
And it's a real problem. It's not like kids don't have.
Yeah.
Although, have you heard lately? I just find this hilarious. All right, so how long has the peanut in particular allergy craze been going on? It's been a while now, right?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
But it kind of came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden it was just everywhere. And there's so many rules, and you got to sign forms, and you're not supposed to send anything with peanuts. In other words, no peanut butter to school, because kids with peanut allergies may be in the same room. Give me a break. So here's the latest thing. Have you guys heard this?
No.
Almost all children who do end up developing peanut allergies, it can be prevented by exposing them to peanuts when they're infants.
Well, I read something about that.
All allergies.
Pretty much all allergies, especially food allergies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, expose them to everything as early as possible, unless they are born very premature. Mm-hmm. If they're born very premature, you do have to be, I think, more careful. But if they're born healthy, expose them to everything.
Yeah, well, Teal Pumpkin Project, again, like Eric was saying, it's for allergy awareness, and they were pushing the last couple of years to put a teal pumpkin out amongst your decorations to signify to the parents that we're an allergy-free home. Well, food allergy-free home. Well, like Eric said, the world doesn't revolve around if you have an allergy. It's really up to you to make sure that you stay away from that stuff, because there's a lot more of us than there is of you. So it's up to you to amend your lifestyle, not for us to amend ours. Basically.
Well, I was allergic to everything as a kid, and I would take my chances, because if I got something I was allergic to, I would just give it to my dad.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
see,
there you go.
See,
a little responsibility on your end, because you're right, Joel. I mean, of course, we want to be sensitive. Yes, we want to be helpful. No, we do not want to cause undue harm. But again, there's so many more people who don't have these issues that it really can become absurd the lengths that society is willing to go to protect the handful who do have them. And again, it's not that we don't want them protected. It's that they and those immediately responsible for them need to take the lead on it. They can't depend on the rest of the world sheltering them from this. You got to do it for yourself. Yeah. Because let's face it, that's what real life's about. You got to do stuff for yourself.
Yeah. Well, now they're offering an app. If you have a teal pumpkin on your front stoop, you can take part in a Teal Pumpkin Project app, so parents can map out where to take their kids trick-or-treating. What? I mean, that's ridiculous.
Just buy them a bunch of stickers and call it a day then? That's silly. Like, I'm sorry. I'm so into personal responsibility as well, because that's what I had to have as a kid. And it taught me, like, hey, guess what? I can trade candy that I'm allergic to other people for candy that I'm not allergic to. See?
True.
Entrepreneurial spirit.
True. And what if you're a creepy old guy and you want trick-or-treaters to come to your house? You put one of those pumpkins out going, yeah, I know they're going to come to me. All the sickly ones will be here.
Oh, the sickly ones. Oh, my God. I can overpower them with my manly rage.
Exactly. Just like the guy in the first story when they took his loot. But all joking aside, anyhow, I just want to touch upon that because that was all the rage is having young children at home. I saw a lot of alerts. Do not give your 1-year-old or below, basically anything below 2 years old peanuts. Well, my 1-year-old loves a good PB&J. And the reason why we did that early is much like we talked about. The sooner they're introduced to it, the less likely to have an allergy. And if they have an allergy, I want to find out right away in life. We don't want to be at school when they realize they have this deadly allergy. I want that to be in a controlled environment. Let's see what happens with a little bit of peanut butter. Yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff. So anyhow, moving away from that.
We're killing time here. We got to hear the horrors of Halloween from Dr. Clarissa Cole and her criminal code.
You know what, though? The teal pumpkin thing actually really factors in well to the first story that I wrote up. It was because, when I think, Joel, we're similar in age, right?
Yes, we are.
So when we were growing up, I remember like my mom and dad wanted to check all of my candy.
Oh, yes. Yes, I remember this.
Cut it. And you know what? My dad would check the Snickers bars by eating them. I just want to point that out.
Yeah,
there's not a razor blade in this one.
Yep, that one's good.
Yeah. But they would
they're all good over here. Don't worry.
They would cut into things, looking for razor blades and needles and all that sort of thing. And I'm thinking, as I'm getting older, I'm thinking, okay, that's all urban legend. Why are they getting freaked out? But apparently in 1974, the unthinkable really did happen when 8-year-old Timothy O'Brien, he died within an hour of ingesting a poisoned pixie stick.
No, those will get you every time, those pixie sticks. No,
Which
those,
I love. I mean, it's the best. It's the
I
best
know,
candy
but they're
idea
so
ever. How about we
easy
just put sugar in a straw?
They're so easy to be tampered with.
Yeah, it's true because they're paper and you can just, kind of pull the end open.
Exactly. No, absolutely.
And I guess that's what happened. So this kid, Timothy O'Brien, he ingested a pixie stick and he did complain afterwards that it tasted kind of bitter, that it didn't taste quite right. I guess the first 2 inches of this pixie stick was replaced, like the sugar was poured out and it was replaced with cyanide. Potassium cyanide.
I know this story because it's the only one. It's
the only real one, right?
Right.
Although
it's very famous and it is horrifying.
They did
a
trick-or-treater, though, just to butt in really quickly. It just made the news today. Got a quarter-size bag of meth in their trick-or-treating basket. So you know.
Wow. Yeah. So you never know. And the thing about potassium cyanide is that if you look at it, I put a picture on my website so you could kind of see what it looks like, and it's compared next to the tip of a pen. It looks very much like granules of sugar.
Yes.
And if you're not paying attention, how would you know? So upon autopsy, it was discovered that little Timothy had ingested enough cyanide to kill 2 grown men, and his siblings' pixie sticks contained enough powder to kill 3 to 4.
Wow. This guy was not messing around. That did this.
And if you know anything too about cyanide and about how a person dies,
I wouldn't even know how to get it, all right? Let alone know anything about it. I mean, how do you go about buying cyanide? It's not like it's down at the grocery store.
Well, it's weird because it is actually somewhat now just so people don't get the wrong idea. It was very kind of commercially available. It still is commercially available, but now you do have to provide your driver's license, sign all these documents, all that stuff. So it's not like it was in the 70s.
Well, what do you use it for?
Purchase it. That's a good. People use it in different types of poisons for different pests, like rat.
Yeah, pest control.
Gotcha.
The main, I would think.
Gotcha. Okay. Makes sense.
Much more commercially available back then, though, than it is now. And so they found these pixie sticks, and Timothy O'Brien died. And then they found 4 more pixie sticks with this in it. And 1 was given to the other O'Brien child, and then 3 more were given to other children in the neighborhood. And so they canvassed the neighborhood, the cops did, basically saying, all right, who's giving out pixie sticks? But they couldn't find anybody that was giving them out. And then they found out that Mr. O'Brien, the O'Brien patriarch, had taken out insurance policies on both of his kids right before Halloween.
Yeah, no one would ever figure that out. Yeah. But you know what? The underlying thing, this was actually kind of a centerpiece of a book about the history of Halloween. And what's so ironic is the killer, the father, was fooled by the urban legend. In other words, he thought it was real. That's why he thought he wouldn't get caught, because this was something that went on out there. He had no idea that this had never actually ever really happened.
Tampering with candy, yeah.
Exactly. So because the urban legend was so powerful and was so, as you said, I mean, I heard about it all the time, right?
Sure. So
and parents were checking candy and people were really freaked out. I would say 60s, 70s, that time frame was the real height of that concern. And as it turned out, when they interviewed the guy later, after the fact, and he was convicted, he's in jail and all this. Another thing, really weird jail career. You should look into it. His career after the fact. But the bottom line is, he thought this was a fairly commonplace thing. Why on earth would they ever suspect him when this was something that did go on? I mean, I'm sure he didn't think it happened all the time, but he had no idea it had actually never happened before.
But the kids didn't go trick-or-treating very far from home.
No, they only went to 2 blocks because it was pouring rain outside.
Yeah. So the suspect pool was fairly small.
Exactly, very small. And he ended up trying to blame this neighbor, where he said just an arm came out of the house and dropped the pixie sticks into their basket, that he never actually saw the person. Turns out the person wasn't home, and that was verified. that there was no one there. I mean, like his story changed a bunch of times. That's crazy. I didn't realize that he actually believed that.
Yeah, that's how he thought he could get away with it, because otherwise, it sounds pretty damn stupid, right? I mean, how can he not get caught? But that was what he was working from a false assumption.
What's it like to die of cyanide poisoning, though? It cannot be pretty.
It's horrible. It's a horrible pain. I mean, it is relatively quick, which is why back in, the wars and still to this day, I think they offer cyanide pills to the troops that in case they get captured and they are being tortured and they want to take themselves out, they can use their own cyanide pills. It is a rather quick death, but it is incredibly painful during that short amount of time.
Oh, that poor little boy.
Very. Oh my God! Like I guess
that's one of the most. Yeah, it's one of the most awful stories ever.
An 8-year-old. I mean, and he was trying to poison his other child too. It's just that they didn't eat the pixie stick, and he
Come
gave
on,
out
kids, eat your
more
pixie sticks.
Huh?
Well, I don't know. Do you guys watch American Horror Story? Because they just literally dealt with this very topic. The latest episode, which was just Tuesday night, right? It was last night. The Kai, the leader of the cult that is the subject of this year, was reviewing the careers of all his favorite cult leaders and how they all killed, off their followers, and usually themselves, though not all of them, but most of them themselves, and a lot of it was cyanide. So we were actually seeing, like they showed the Jim Jones thing. I don't know if that was cyanide. I think it was in the Kool-Aid. Literally drink the Kool-Aid, and that was over 900 people who died that way.
Man.
It is a quick death, but it generally speaking, but it is very painful. The foaming at the mouth,
it to be very grim and ugly,
it's very grim,
painful, and everyone's writhing and groaning, and it was
very grim, very painful. And I don't know how anyone could do that. There's I want to get to this one just because it's kind of iconic, and it's odd to me that a lot of people from like Joel, like the generation now coming up, don't know about this.
Yeah,
is the because I think Eric, you're gonna be like, oh, that Martha Moxley, that case.
Oh,
I didn't know. I actually didn't know her name, but when I read the story, I knew the case, but I did not know her name.
Okay, so she was. It's weird. I don't know why I know so much about it because I was born just slightly after, so it's odd that I would know about it. But Martha Moxley was a beautiful. She really was very pretty. A blonde teenager from Bellhaven, Connecticut, and she was last seen on Halloween evening at a neighbor's house, and her neighbors were Tommy and Michael Skakel. And I guess Tommy was 17 years old, and they had kind of fooled around before.
Oh,
I knew their names because of why you're going to say I'm not going to spoil it. I did know their names because I heard a lot more. This is one of those cases where you heard much more about the aftermath, and there was much more emphasis on the perpetrator rather than the victim. So isn't that ironic? I knew just from having been alive at that time the name of the perpetrator, but not the victim. And that really makes me, I got to stop and think about that a bit, but carry on.
Yeah, I mean, I think that actually ends up happening a lot where we know about the killer, but we don't know anything about the victim. And she was a lovely girl, beautiful girl, a smart girl, and she wrote all these diaries, and she was just, it sounds like she was a lovely person, and she went to her neighbor's house. They were only about 150 yards away from each other. She never ended up coming home, and in the morning, her body was found beneath a tree in her backyard with her jeans and underwear pulled down, and she'd been beaten so brutally with a golf club that the shaft of the golf club had shattered, and then a piece of the golf club was used to skewer her through the neck.
Oh, my God.
I know, horrible. And so the local police, I mean, and by the way, this happened in Bellhaven, Connecticut. If you're not familiar, this is where multiple presidents of the United States have come from.
Sure.
So
yeah.
Extremely, I think not Carter, there was another one that came from there. But so the Skakels, being the next door neighbors, they were the last people to see her alive. So they were questioned right away, but not a lot of pressure was put on them because guess who they were related to?
Who?
Bobby Kennedy.
Really? So they didn't put too much pressure on them because of the Kennedy connection.
A little bit. That's what everybody's saying. I mean, they went in there, they did a little bit of a search, but nothing big. And I mean, Michael, the younger one, even admitted to, I'm going to quote, to quote, jerking off beneath the same tree where Martha was found.
Oh, my Lord.
And the golf clubs were a very expensive, not that other things wouldn't be expensive in Bellhaven, but they were a very expensive Tony Penna set, which happened to belong to the Skakel boys' recently deceased mother.
So they got him, lock, stock, and barrel. It's one of the boys. It's someone that's connected to that family. Okay, book him, Daniel. What are we waiting for?
Yeah, right? Right? You'd think so.
Yeah.
You'd think that they'd be like, all right, we're locking you up right now. Well, nothing happened. Nothing. Until, what was it, 1992? Was it? So several books were written about this. So other people looked into it. Thank God.
Yeah.
Other, writers looked into this case and went, you know what? This should have been a open and closed case. And, it was 1998. So remember, the original thing happened in 1975. That's when Martha was killed.
Yeah.
And in 1998, a grand jury was finally convened.
So 22 years later, they finally go, well, maybe we should look back into that.
Right. And in 2000, the younger Skakel brother, see, they were thinking it was Tommy, actually, because he was the one that kind of had a relationship with Martha.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was Michael, the younger one, who admitted that he used to spy on Martha and then jerk off underneath that tree.
Ew.
It was him. And at last, in 2000, the younger brother, Michael, was indicted. And in 2002, he stood trial, was convicted, and sentenced to 20 years to life. And then that sentence was overturned, and they had to go back and do it again.
Well, it doesn't say, of course, why it was overturned, but okay, he's overturned. He skates at the moment. And so he's really, free, and they come back at it, though, right?
They redid the trial. So a grand jury indicts him. They try him. He's guilty. And then a single judge, I can't imagine he'd have a connection to the Kennedy family or be bought off or anything. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm saying it on the air. He overturned the sentence for Michael Skakel, and they redid it, and he was found guilty again.
So, have you noticed, Clarissa, the article? This is our article about tonight's show. Again, Clarissa really wrote almost the whole thing. All I do is a little rearranging and editing and adding a few things here and there and formatting for tonight's show, because she wrote all this cool guy stuff up. Have you noticed the book? One of the 3 Amazon links, and this is on America's-most-haunted.com, about this very case. Well, who still is claiming that he was innocent?
The kid.
Michael Skakel.
Look who wrote it. Who wrote the book? Framed. Why Michael Skakel spent over a decade in prison for a murder he didn't commit. Robert Kennedy Jr. wrote that book. Saying he was framed.
Man!
Yes. Yeah, and there were letters from the Kennedy family, lots of letters that came in saying that he was a kind gentleman. He couldn't have done this. The evidence is somewhat overwhelming. Who else would, if it wasn't Tommy or Michael, who was it that had access to their mother's golf clubs and the DNA and all that other good stuff?
Some kind of motive.
Right. Tommy had a crush on Martha Moxley, admittedly, and she was kind of blocking him from getting everything that he wanted to get from her. And Michael had a crush on her, too.
Wow, the love triangle gone wrong.
Exactly.
So, the Kennedy connection bought him a lot of freedom for 22 years. Yeah. And then things got re-examined. And then he was brought to trial, of course, 2002, was convicted. They threw that one out because, again, I want to say the Kennedy influence might have come in. We don't know for sure, but it sure looks that way. So then they retry him, and they end up locking him up again. In the meantime, Robert Kennedy Jr. is going, yeah, it's really, really too bad that he spent some time in prison. He's a great guy. Never should have happened. The hell, man? How corrupt is this?
I think it's horrible. I do see lots of these types of letters from people, just because of the type of people that I evaluate in prison, and they are serving life-term sentences. And I do see support letters all the time. And
well, not from a Kennedy, I guarantee you.
Not from, well, no, not from a Kennedy. Usually. Not usually, but sometimes I do see them from politically influential people, though. I think you'd be surprised.
And does that play a role in getting them maybe commuted, rather not commuted, but move from death row to maybe getting life in prison instead. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think it's hard if you're a really influential person, I think it's hard for that not to kind of influence the parole board just a little bit to maybe think about it a second time. And it's just, I think you really have to think about who you're vouching for. And I'm surprised that they didn't.
Maybe they show up and they say to the parole board, so I hear you guys need a new this, huh? So.
No, and I'm sure that sort of thing occurs. It's just sad to me.
What's your favorite charity? That kind of stuff. So, it does happen. I mean, it obviously happens.
Since we're down to our about final 5 minutes, and this is such an interesting and in some ways important case, I mean, has any theory ever come forth that is plausible? Has anyone ever said anything that would point in the direction of a different person?
There was a quote. I don't know if I can find it. I remember that there was a quote by a juror because they did convene a jury. And they said that because of who he was and Michael Skakel and who he was related to, and because of the life that he led after this, to be honest, because he was only 15 years old. We have to remember that at the time, as was Martha Moxley. They said that they were looking for the jurors actually admitted they were looking for any way at all to find him innocent.
Would he have been charged as a minor then?
And they just couldn't. No. I mean at the time, possibly yes, but the type of crime that it is, I'd have to look it up in Connecticut. But here in California, if you commit an adult type of crime at that age, you are tried as an adult.
Now, I say, would they charge him like a 15-year-old because it took place when he was 15? Is what I'm asking.
It depends on what the laws were in 1975. You have to look.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean,
interesting.
I don't know, but the jurors admitted that they were sympathetic to Skakel, that they wanted essentially to find him innocent, and they couldn't do it.
Well, the evidence was so glaring and damning that they couldn't do otherwise. Not with a complete miscarriage of justice, but just looking the other way and going, he's a nice guy.
Right, and I guess he was. I mean, there wasn't necessarily any sort of violence after that, but to commit a killing that is so unbelievably violent at 15, it's pretty striking.
That's very striking, very scary.
Yes.
I mean, who cares if he was giving the homeless blankets afterwards? What he did was wrong. No matter how great of a guy afterwards he was, wrong is wrong. Justice was served, and that's exactly the outcome we would expect.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I am very disappointed to see the Robert F. Kennedy book. That's surprising to me.
Yeah, it is kind of surprising to throw out there, the guy's innocent, why is he spending all his time in jail? That whole thing. So,
you better be darn sure. Like, you better have been there. The interesting part that gave way to this. So, like, what is Mark Fuhrman famous for?
Saying a naughty word.
That too, but where did he first appear in the public consciousness?
OJ.
Yeah, OJ. But then he said that
trial, right?
Yeah, but then he said that naughty word and allegedly, and then that kind of got him out of public favor pretty quick.
Exactly. But what's kind of interesting is that if I can just kind of put in a plug for, no, he said a terrible thing and that's not okay. But Mark Fuhrman wrote the book Murder in Greenwich in 1998. And at that point, everybody believed that Tommy Skakel, the older Skakel, the one that had been written about in Martha's diary, was the most likely suspect because he was the last person to be seen with her alive. But Mark Fuhrman in 1998 wrote this book, Murder in Greenwich. He named Michael Skakel as the murderer and pointed out numerous mistakes that the police had made investigating the case, and that's what opened it all up again.
Well, good for him.
Yeah, good for him. He did something all right. All right. We got to rolling out of here. We're at the end of another show. So this is a lot of fun, a little bit looser than our normal true crime night. It was a lot of fun talking about the true crime headlines, which are always funny, but also the Halloween true crime headlines. And Dr. Cole, thank you so much for coming on the show with us. And, again, we can't tell everybody how much we really appreciate everything you guys have done for us. This is always our biggest time of year, of course. Lots of listeners, things going down and things going on. But also, let's not forget to take time to appreciate each other as well. So until next time, guys, till tomorrow night, we talk to Nick Redfern, take care of each other, love each other, and read up on your own headlines.